All right, hey everyone. So I'm sure a lot of you have been following Nazara Technologies, right? They're making some serious moves in India's gaming and esports world.
Yeah, they really are.
And you want to get a handle on their latest financials, their Q2 FY25 report, without getting bogged down in all of the technical jargon.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to break down their performance, their big moves this quarter, and what it all means going forward.
It's really interesting because even though Nazara is listed on the Indian stock exchanges,
Right.
they're operating on a much larger scale now, spanning India, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe.
Global ambitions, huh?
Definitely. They're not just thinking locally anymore.
So let's dive right into the numbers.
Okay.
Revenue, they saw a solid 7.3% growth year over year, reaching a massive 318.9 crores,
Whoa.
which is over 3 billion rupees. And their profit before tax also saw an uptick.
Wow, that's impressive.
But we all know that the top-line figures don't always tell the whole story, right?
Exactly. It's crucial to remember that Nazara operates across three distinct divisions: gaming, esports, and ad tech. Right. And the profitability picture within each division is actually quite different.
Now, this quarter wasn't all about steady growth, though.
No, it wasn't.
They actually made some really aggressive plays,
They did.
snapping up companies and making strategic investments. It's like they were on a shopping spree.
It really was. I think their biggest move was that acquisition of a 47.7% stake in Moonshine Technologies.
Right.
Parent company of PokerBaazi,
What's this?
India's leading online poker platform.
Huge.
That move set them back a cool 831.5 crores, their largest investment to date.
Wow.
And they didn't stop there.
No.
They also pumped in an additional 150 crore into Moonshine as primary capital.
That's a statement.
It is. It shows they're really serious about this.
So they're not just acquiring a stake, they're fueling the growth of these companies.
Exactly.
And they didn't stop at Moonshine. Nazara also went all in, acquiring the remaining stakes in paper boat apps.
Oh, right. The makers of Kidopia.
That's the one, a very popular educational app for kids.
Very successful.
And they also upped their ownership in Absolute Sports
The parent company of Sportskeeda.
to controlling 91%.
Wow, so they're really consolidating their position.
And let's not forget about their strategic move to acquire a 15.86% stake in Stan, a rapidly growing esports community platform.
Right, Stan. They're doing some really interesting things in the esports community space.
All these acquisitions tell us something, right?
Absolutely.
Nazara isn't just riding the gaming and esports wave, they're trying to shape it.
They're definitely not passive players.
So let's zoom in on their gaming segment for a moment.
Okay.
They've got some big names in their portfolio, starting with Kidopia.
A real star performer.
This app, which gamifies early learning for kids, is consistently a top-grossing app in its category in the U.S.
Yeah, it's remarkable how well they've managed to tap into that market.
And it really highlights the potential of subscription models in the kids' space.
For sure, parents are willing to pay for quality educational content for their kids.
Then we have Animal Jam, their virtual world for kids, which is experiencing a bit of a resurgence, especially in the U.S.
That's great to see.
They're smartly investing in user acquisition to capitalize on this renewed interest.
A wise move. Strike while the iron's hot, as they say.
And then to really expand their global footprint, they brought Fusebox Games into the fold.
Ah, yes, the UK studio.
The masterminds behind those wildly popular interactive story games like Love Island and Big Brother.
Really smart acquisition. Those games have a massive global following.
It's a clever way to expand their IP portfolio and dive into a whole new game genre.
And what's particularly interesting about Fusebox?
What's that?
They have a proven track record of creating games based on existing intellectual property,
Oh, that's interesting.
which opens up all sorts of possibilities for Nazara.
Like what?
Well, imagine interactive story games based on popular Bollywood films or Indian reality shows.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
The potential is huge.
So now let's talk about real money gaming, a segment that's faced some headwinds lately
Right.
due to new GST regulations in India.
Yeah, those new regulations have definitely impacted profitability across the entire industry.
To be clear, for those who aren't familiar, GST is essentially a nationwide tax on the supply of goods and services in India.
Right.
It's a hurdle everyone in the industry has to overcome.
Absolutely. It's a level playing field in that sense.
But despite these challenges, Nazara's open play platform, which facilitates real money gaming, is on track to become profitable.
That's a very positive sign.
It is. And their massive investment in pokerbazi shows that they're committed to this segment for the long haul.
They're not shying away from the challenge,
No, they're making strategic moves to position themselves as leaders.
even with the regulatory uncertainties.
So we see Nazara balancing these dependable revenue streams from their subscription-based kids apps with calculated risks in this evolving real money gaming market.
It's a fascinating mix of stability and ambition.
It is. But it makes you wonder, are they spreading themselves too thin? Could focusing on so many different areas dilute their focus?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to consider that Nazara is taking a very strategic approach to their expansion.
Right.
They're not just randomly acquiring companies.
Yeah, they're very deliberate.
They're carefully selecting businesses that complement their existing strengths and open up new opportunities.
So it's like they're building a puzzle, carefully choosing each piece.
Exactly. And they're not just focused on acquisitions, they're also investing in organic growth and developing their own intellectual property.
They're covering all their bases.
It's this balanced approach to growth that I find particularly impressive.
Let's switch gears and talk about esports, where Nodwin Gaming, Nazara's esports arm, is absolutely killing it.
They really are.
They've already exceeded 313 crores in revenue in just the first half of FY25.
Those are some impressive numbers.
What's driving this success?
Well, I think Nodwin's success goes beyond just organizing tournaments.
I think so too.
They're creating these immersive experiences that really tap into the global youth culture wave.
They're not just hosting events, they're building a brand.
Exactly. And they're doing it on a global scale.
Right. Nodwin already has a strong presence in the Middle East.
And their acquisition of Freaks4U, the German esports agency, really underlines their international aspirations.
That's a bold move.
It is. Makes you wonder, how far can they take this? Are they on track to become a true global esports powerhouse?
It's a big goal.
It is.
But looking at their track record, I wouldn't underestimate them.
No, me neither.
They have a knack for finding opportunities and executing their strategy effectively.
And they seem to have a real deep understanding of the global esports market.
For sure. And they're willing to make bold moves to expand their reach.
Absolutely.
What sets Nodwin apart is that they're not just about competition.
It's bigger than that.
They're building communities and becoming a part of the cultural zeitgeist.
I think what really sets them apart is their ability to create experiences that go beyond gaming. They're tapping into the passions and aspirations of a global audience, and that's really powerful.
Speaking of global expansion, let's talk about DatOrgs, their ad tech subsidiary.
Okay.
They're shifting their focus towards higher margin business, and it's already paying off.
It is. They saw a 7% revenue increase this quarter.
It's not just about scale in ad tech, it's about making strategic moves to boost profitability.
For sure. And their recent acquisition of Space and Time Media, a UK-based growth marketing agency, shows that they're serious about expanding globally.
So they're getting bigger, but they're also getting smarter and more efficient.
Precisely. They're recognizing that profitability is just as important as growth in the ad tech world.
Absolutely. But some analysts are saying that Nazara hasn't done enough to adapt to these new GST regulations.
Right, I've heard that too.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's true that the new regulations have created challenges for the whole industry, and Nazara hasn't been immune to that.
Right, it's impacting everyone.
But I think it's still a bit early to say whether they've done enough to adapt. We'll need to see how their strategy plays out over the next few quarters.
Fair enough.
Now, with all this aggressive growth, you might think they're spreading themselves thin.
You would think so.
But they're actually streamlining their operations as well.
How are they doing that?
They're implementing a strategy they call organized decentralization.
Organized decentralization. That's an interesting term.
It is. It's about finding that sweet spot between empowering individual subsidiaries and leveraging shared resources.
Okay, so it's like a sports team.
Yeah, exactly. Each player has their own role and strengths, but they work together towards a common goal.
They're establishing these centers of excellence to centralize functions like analytics, user acquisition, and back office operations.
Right. It's about achieving greater efficiency and cost optimization.
But without stifling the creativity and innovation of the individual companies.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance, but they seem to be managing it well.
This quarter really shows us a company that's not just playing the game, they're changing it.
I agree.
Consolidating their position in India while making bold moves in the global market.
What stands out to you most about their approach?
I'm really impressed by their ability to balance calculated risks with a focus on operational excellence.
Yeah, I see that too.
They're not afraid to make big moves, but they're also laying the groundwork for sustainable growth.
It's a very smart strategy, both ambitious and pragmatic.
They're aiming high, but making sure they have the structure and processes in place to achieve those goals.
I think this has been a really insightful look at Nazara's Q2 FY25 results.
It has.
Right.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners today?
For me, it's that Nazara is a company that's not just playing to win.
Right.
They're playing to change the game.
They're ambitious, innovative, strategic, and they're definitely a company to watch in the coming years.
I couldn't agree more.
And that's what makes them so exciting.
Absolutely. You know, it really makes you think, can they keep this up?
Yeah, can they maintain this momentum?
Can they balance this ambitious expansion with the need for operational efficiency?
It's a tough question.
It is, and I think that's why their focus on operational excellence is so critical.
Right.
Their organized decentralization model, along with those centers of excellence,
Yeah.
they're designed to address this exact challenge.
By centralizing certain functions,
Right.
they can achieve economies of scale and ensure consistency across their diverse portfolio
Exactly.
without stifling the creativity and agility of individual subsidiaries.
It's a tough balance.
It is.
But they seem to be striking it well.
Their acquisition of Moonshine Technologies and that big investment in Pokerbazi.
Right, even with all the regulatory challenges in India surrounding real money gaming.
It really shows their long-term thinking
They're not just reacting to the market, they're anticipating where it's going.
and positioning themselves accordingly.
Exactly.
And it's not just acquisitions. They're also investing in developing their own intellectual property.
Like Hidopia and Animal Jam.
Right, which gives them more control over their destiny.
Absolutely. Owning your own IP is a huge advantage.
It is.
You're not beholden to licensing deals or partnerships
You have the freedom to develop those products and brands.
in a way that aligns with your vision.
It's like building a fortress, surrounding themselves with strong IP while expanding their territory.
I like that analogy. And it's not just a fortress, it's a network.
What do you mean?
Their diverse portfolio, gaming, esports, ad tech.
Yeah.
It's designed to work together, a synergistic ecosystem where each part supports the others.
Nodwin Gaming is a great example of that.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not just organizing tournaments, they're building a lifestyle brand.
Encompassing gaming, music, comedy, pop culture.
They're creating experiences that go beyond just playing games.
And that's what's resonating with their audience.
It's smart.
It is. They're tapping into this global youth culture that wants immersive, interactive entertainment.
And they're doing it with a global mindset.
That acquisition of Freaks4U, the German esports agency, really shows that
They're not content with just being a leader in India.
they want to be a global player.
And they're making the moves to get there.
DateWorks, their ad tech subsidiary, is a key part of that global expansion.
Providing the data-driven insight and marketing expertise.
To reach new audiences and markets effectively.
And DataOrcs is also transforming.
Shifting towards higher margin business, focusing on profitability.
A smart move in a competitive landscape where scale isn't always enough.
They're realizing that sustainable growth needs a focus on both revenue and profitability.
So we see Nazara making these bold bets on the future. Expanding, acquiring, streamlining.
But is it too much? Too fast? Are they spreading themselves too thin?
It's a valid question.
It is, but Nazara has a proven track record.
They've consistently shown they can identify opportunities
Execute their strategy effectively.
and adapt to changing market conditions.
Their management team seems to have a clear vision.
And they're not afraid to take risks to achieve their goals.
And they're not just taking risks for the sake of it.
Right, they're calculated bets.
Backed by careful analysis and strategic thinking.
And that's what sets them apart.
They're not just chasing trends, they're trying to create them.
They're not just playing the game, they're rewriting the rules.
And their commitment to operational excellence, organized decentralization, centers of excellence.
It shows they're serious about building a sustainable business.
Not just focused on short-term gains, but long-term success.
So for those following Nazara, what should they be watching for in the coming quarters?
I think it'll be interesting to see how those acquisitions integrate.
And how they leverage those new assets for growth.
Definitely. And how they navigate the regulatory landscape for real money gaming in India.
That's a big one.
It is a real wild card.
And of course, what new and innovative products and services they come up with.
They've surprised us before.
I'm sure they have more tricks up their sleeve.
This has been a great discussion.
It has given us a lot to think about.
What's the biggest takeaway for you?
For me, it's that Nazara is a company that's not afraid to dream big and take risks.
But they're also disciplined and strategic.
They're not chasing short-term gains. They're building a sustainable business for the long term
They're playing the long game.
and playing it well.
It's clear they're not just building a business.
They're building a legacy.
And that's truly remarkable.
You know, it's been really interesting talking about Nazara's performance and their strategy.
Yeah,
It's clear that their success isn't just about knowing the market.
right.
It's about understanding a whole generation.
They've really tapped into the pulse of youth culture, haven't they?
They have.
It's not just about games and esports events for them.
Yeah.
They're building these whole worlds, experiences, communities.
Impressive.
It really resonates with the global audience.
When you think about it,
Yeah,
they've got Kidopia capturing the hearts and minds of young learners.
with those educational games.
And then you've got Nodwin
Yeah.
creating these massive esports spectacles.
Blending gaming, music, comedy, pop culture.
They're meeting their audience where they are.
Right, on their phones, online.
And more in these immersive shared experiences.
Exactly.
It's a completely different approach from those traditional gaming companies.
Yeah.
Nazara is at the forefront of this convergence.
Of gaming, entertainment, technology.
And they're doing it with a global view. Those acquisitions, their partnerships,
They span continents.
it shows they understand the nuances of different markets.
It really does.
Makes you wonder, what's next for them?
What new frontiers will they explore?
That's what's so exciting about Nazara.
With their track record,
Yeah,
the possibilities are endless.
maybe they'll go deeper into the metaverse.
Oh, creating virtual worlds where all their offerings come together.
Or leverage AI to personalize those gaming and esports experiences.
Take engagement to another level.
The possibilities are really endless.
They are.
But one thing's for sure,
What's that?
Nazara isn't content with just playing the game.
No?
They're rewriting the rules, pushing boundaries, shaping the future of entertainment.
And that's something worth paying attention to.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Nazara Technologies,
Yeah.
we'll leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
Keep an eye on them.
They're a company to watch.
They're redefining what it means to play, compete, and connect in this digital world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.